Hi and welcome to my Tech Cave for affiliate marketers. Today, over the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about basically the best WP Rocket cache settings for 2021, for WordPress of course. So it's just a quick 2-minute tutorial for WP Rocket. Now basically we're going to just cover one aspect today, and that's the cache settings. WP Rocket has a lot of settings, but we're just going to have a look at the cache settings alone. So are you ready? Should we do it? Like, yay! Let's do it! So if you don't know anything about WP Rocket, basically WP Rocket to me is the #1 plugin for caching inside WordPress. WordPress needs caching. Now, if you have no idea what caching is, watch this video up here about caching, and that gives you an overview about caching, and I talk a little about WP Rocket and also about WordPress caching of it. I'll put a link at the end of this video as well to watch that video. So basically, WP Rocket is one of the best tools that you can actually get. It's a paid plugin, it's not free. Some people think it's expensive, but basically, you know, like you get one customer on your website, your affiliate marketer, it will pay for it, depending on what you're selling. So basically, that's the way I look at it. You know, it's basically you pay for what you get. It's simple, it's easy, it's basically non-problematic. A lot of the other plugins can be a bit problematic. So WP Rocket, I very rarely have any problems with it. I put it on a couple of hundred sites already. So I highly recommend it. So basically, if you want to buy it, go to this link here, basically getusat/WP Rocket. That'll take you in, and basically you can sign up, click on buy WP Rocket up here. Okay, caching, let's get straight into it. Basically, you've got all the tabs down the left-hand side here, and the one we want today is the caching tab. So coming to here, and we've got a few settings, and it's a pretty simple tab, but it's actually an important tab. There's a lot of stuff in here, even though you might not think it's doing much. First of all, mobile cache. Super important to have that switched on, because basically, you know, most of your website visitors these days are probably visiting on a mobile device. So you must have that, and it does some specific settings for mobile. Now you'll see this little option pop up next, separate cache for files for mobile devices. Now you only need this is basically if your website serves a separate, basically a set of files for mobile. Most WordPress sites don't do that. So you can see down here, basically that normally you'd not need to switch it on. Coming down here, enable for WordPress users. Normally you wouldn't use this because that means when you're logged in as an admin user, all your pages are cached. That means if you make a change, you don't see the changes instantly because it's cached. Basically, based on the number of hours, as you can see down here, 10 hours. But if you read in here, it does say if you've got user-specific or restricted content. So for example, if you've got users logging into your website to look at specific content, then you probably do want to cache that. Normally, you wouldn't do that unless you've got something where the users are accessing the back end and getting access to the information. So it's a pretty simple settings. Now let me just stop for a second, and if you need help, always remember this little button. It's very good. There's some great articles in here, and also, you know, like they have got a great website that backs this up. So get in there and have a look at that when you need it. Cache lifestyle. It seems simple. Well, it is simple, but you've got to make a clear decision, because let's understand caching. And basically the fundamental of caching is that it's a temporary copy stored somewhere locally, and that basically it stops it having to regenerate it from the database and from the server and so on. Basically, it's going to be stored for 10 hours in this case. That means if you update your server, 10 hours later, the users of the internet will see that new copy. That might not be that good, depending on how often you update it. But if you have this as too long, then that means then basically if somebody visits your website within the next 12 hours, it takes longer to load. So the longer that this is, the better. But of course, it's that fine balance. So you've got to adjust it based on your website. Nobody else's. You've got to know your own website, how often you're adding content, how often you're updating it, and what user experience do you want for them to have. So basically you want optimization on speed, but you also want the latest content. So just get that balance. As you can see here, it very clearly says, reduce lifespan to 10 hours or less if you've noticed any issues. I rarely have noticed any issues. I tend to leave it sitting at 12. You know, it's sort of a balance, and basically that's the way it goes. It's up to you. But 12, 14 hours is pretty good. Save changes, remember, on this particular tab, and then basically all your settings are ready to go. Yoo-hoo! So that was pretty good, yeah? Just a quick little intro there, not very complicated. I want to do one more section and basically show you about clearing your cache, and basically a quick talk about some of the different caches that are actually consolidated and accessible and cleared, are able to be cleared within WP Rocket. Okay, let's have a look. Woohoo! Come up here, WP Rocket, pretty obvious place to go. But now we have options to clear the cache, purge the Opcache. Now what is Opcache? Let's come back to that in a second. Clear Cloudflare cache. Clear Cloudflare cache. And preload cache. Let's quickly talk about these different options. Clear the cache, well, boom, gone. Brand new. It's basically use a brand new copy of your site. Now, if you come and clear this often, it's going to have a server overhead. It clears everything. So just bear that in mind, especially if you've got a low spec server. Purge Opcache. Well, what is Opcache? Let's have a look over here. So Opcache is the caching engine built into PHP. And if using WordPress, it's run on PHP. That's the programming language. So it's basically built into PHP. It comes as part of the whole engine. So that's what Opcache is. So it improves the performance of PHP. So it's great. So basically, WP Rocket does that for you. So now you know what Opcache is. So basically, it can be, if it's not visible here, it probably means your server has not been optimized that well. So sometimes, as well as optimizing your WordPress site, you need to optimize your server as well. So clear Cloudflare cache. Basically, WP Rocket allows you to add your user logins inside WP Rocket so that it will automatically clear the Cloudflare cache. Now, Cloudflare is a CDN, content delivery network, and it's outside of WordPress, and it basically allows you to actually speed up your site. So basically, it's a separate service, but you can clear it from in here, and that's pretty cool. Preload cache. What that does mean is that if you have 200 web pages, WP Rocket on its own will just go through and maybe do 10 pages at once. It will just chug away over a period of an hour and do it slowly. But if you preload it, it will go through and basically set it all up again and basically recreate the cache. Sometimes you want to do that. So basically that's all the options in here about caching. Hopefully that was useful. Now, if you're not sure about what caching is, then check out this video here. That's all about what is a cache, and it tells you also about basically WordPress caching. It gives you some more information. So check out that video now. I think you'll get a lot of understanding. If some of the information that I've shared today doesn't make sense about caching, if you don't really understand what a cache is, this is a really simple cartoon-based video that will help you do that. So catch you in the next video. Yahoo!